Hey everybody, you're watching We the Fandom, where we discuss comic books, pop culture, and the fandom experience. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more content. How's it going, everybody? Jacob here at We the Fandom, reviewing episode 4 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Man, was that a crazy ending. It was surprising, but expected at the same time. But this episode opens with a flashback showing a very personal moment for Bucky, in which it seems Io, along with Shuri, is the one that helped Bucky get rid of the Winter Soldier programming, which explains the kind of unspoken connection the two seem to have when she showed up in the last episode. Now, in this episode, she's telling Bucky that they basically have 8 hours to do whatever it is they're trying to do before the Dora Milaje are going to come back and scoop up Zemo, to take him back for basically, I don't know, getting revenge on him for killing King T'Chaka or something like that. We also learned that the world has found out about the Flag Smashers' attack at the GRC, where Karli basically left those people to die in that fire. This causes the GRC to enact stricter sanctions against the refugees, upsetting Karli and the Flag Smashers even further, on top of the fact that the power broker contacts her and says basically if he doesn't get that serum back soon, that he's going to come after them and kill them all. While trying to find out where the Flag Smashers will be next, Sam, Bucky, and Zemo end up going to the orphanage from the last episode, and of all people, Zemo is able to find the location, but he tries to keep it to himself for as long as he can to use as leverage, knowing that the Dora Milaje are coming after him. But the location ends up being the funeral of Doña Madani, the woman who took care of Karli and her friends when they were young. Sharon Carter also appears a couple times just to remind us about the power broker. You know, while the last episode focused very heavily on finding out the identity of the power broker, that whole plot really seems to be taking a backseat in this episode. On the way to the funeral, John Walker and Lemar Hoskins catch up to the trio and decide to follow along in order to take Karli in. Of course, Walker's idea is to go in hard and fast and take her down, but Sam, due to his past as a counselor dealing with former soldiers, thinks that the best plan of action is to try and talk Karli down and get her to come in peacefully. Ultimately, it's Lemar that convinces John to go along with his plan. Now, when they get to the location, Walker handcuffs Zemo to a boiler and tells Sam he basically has 10 minutes to try to convince Karli to come with them peacefully. And Zemo, from the first minute he's been working with the team, has been trying to manipulate things pretty obviously, including trying to change Sam's mind on the whole notion of, Captain America and what it means to be the symbol and kind of the idea of superheroes in general, as well as dogging Bucky and trying to bring the Winter Soldier programming back. He does a lot of messing with people's heads in this episode as well, including with John Walker, who is already noticeably starting to lose it. Now, we know from the start that Karli Morgenthau's whole philosophy or reason for what she's doing is that she believes the world was better during the blip. One world, one community, everyone working together and all that kind of stuff. Sam, knowing this, believes that while she's doing the right thing, she's going about it in the most terrible way. Now, I don't want to get political in this video, but I am on the side of Walker, Zemo, and Bucky on this one. I think Sam puts way too much faith into Karli and her fight. I mean, to me, she's basically an edgy teenager who's angry that she and her people aren't getting as much, focus from different communities and governments as they were during the blip. Like, not as many, when I say focus or attention, I mean they weren't getting as much help or whatever. And here's my thing. Just because some people had better lives during the blip doesn't mean that it was like that for everyone else. A lot of people lost loved ones, friends. The world lost heroes. Also, Karli has stated on multiple occasions and shown that she's willing to kill to go back to what she thought was a better world. So I really don't have any sympathy for her. And this also kind of shows Sam on multiple occasions during this episode has tried and failed to connect with some of the people on the side of the Flag Smashers. And this time is no different, because predictably, John Walker busts in before the 10 minutes and tries to take Karli in, and predictably, she runs away. Now, Bucky and Sam go after her, but get lost in the maze of the building that they're in. Zemo, meanwhile, had escaped the handcuffs, is able to intercept Karli, shoots her, and while she does manage to escape, she drops the bag containing the remaining vials of the super soldier serum. And when Zemo sees the bag, he just immediately starts crushing each vial. And as he's doing this, John Walker comes in, knocks him out, and as he's looking around, he happens to see the one last vial of the serum, which he picks up and takes with him. And man, when I saw that, I mean, I knew from episode 2, when they revealed that John Walker wasn't a super soldier, that he was going to get his hands on this serum at some point to basically boost his abilities to try to become what he thought Captain America should be. Though, surprisingly, he doesn't take the serum right off the bat. Now, Karli and the Flag Smashers are trying to come up with a plan to kill Captain America, and Karli also manages to get a hold of Sam's sister Sarah and threatens her. But before another conflict between all these people can occur, John Walker gets his ass beat by the Dora Milaje when they show up to take Zemo. Ironically, when Walker also showed up to the hotel or whatever they're staying at to arrest Zemo himself. Zemo manages to escape during this fight. Bucky gets his vibranium arm removed, and Walker is super depressed about the fact that he got beat by a bunch of women who weren't even super soldiers. After which, he has a conversation with Lemar about whether or not he would take the super soldier serum if he had the chance. In the final act of this episode, Karli decides to meet with Sam alone because she thinks she can try and persuade him to join her side. Bucky shows up even though she told Sam to show up alone, and of course, John and Lemar are not too far behind them. During the kind of final fight, some of the Flag Smashers kidnap and tie up Lemar to get John to follow them as part of their plan to kill him. And while he eventually does, in the final confrontation, Karli sort of accidentally kills Lemar when she's actually going for John Walker. And this is where we finally see John turn. Now, it isn't explicitly said, but I don't think I'm wrong in assuming that by this point, John Walker has taken the super soldier formula, and the Flag Smashers are obviously not a match for him anymore. He chases down one of the Flag Smashers, not the one that killed Lemar, but just a random one that he found, and in a town square, in front of a whole crowd of people with their phones out, recording the whole thing, John Walker kills one of the Flag Smashers by basically smashing him, I assume smashing his skull with his shield. Funnily enough, in the comics leading up to the story where Steve Rogers gives up the mantle and John Walker becomes Captain America, there was a story arc in which Steve Rogers was fighting the Flag Smasher and his agents, and in issue 321 of Captain America, Steve Rogers ended up having to kill one of them in order to save a group of people. This was due to the fact that Cap had already thrown his shield at another terrorist, and so he didn't have a weapon, and so just before this other terrorist mowed down a group of people, Cap grabbed a gun and killed him. This action would end up haunting Rogers, causing him to have doubts in his ability to live up to being the symbol of America that he thought he should be. So even though it isn't exactly the same, this episode definitely drew inspiration from that comic. While it's been obvious over the past couple of episodes that the pressure was getting to Walker, I didn't think they were going to kill Lemar to get him across that line. I mean, that was his best friend. But there we go. Whether or not you have read the comic books, we could all see from the beginning that John Walker was going to end up becoming a villain, or at the very least an anti-hero at the end of the show. It didn't happen the way I thought it would, but it was still a pretty damn interesting episode, and I'm real curious to see how Walker and the US government deals with the fallout of his actions. I'm also curious to know what you guys think about this whole John Walker situation, so leave your comments. As always, hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I'll see y'all in the next video.